Hey everyone, it's Gabriel here again. And in this video, I want to address why you actually don't need to make $1 million a year business to really be happy. You can actually comfortably make $200,000 to $300,000 a year and enjoy a comfortable lifestyle instead of slaving yourself, instead of hustling and making $1 million a year without an increase in quality of life. Because additional money does not mean that you have better quality of life. In this video, I just want to address that because I have a real example of a student who was actually going through this, and I was advising them about their situation. So let me just make it clear first that when you start a business, it's important to know what you really want. What's the objective you want? Do you want a better quality of life? Do you want have a better lifestyle, so that you can really spend the time to do the things that are really important to you? So business becomes a vehicle for you to do that, right? So for example, one of the reasons why I started the business because I wanted to have more time with my family. I wanted to have more time with my wife. I wanted to have more time with my daughter. And so I want a business that can give me that freedom. But what most people do is that they say that they want to have more time with their family, but they start a business and they want to make more money. And because they want to make more money, now they have to spend more time in their business and they have no time for their family. So that doesn't make sense, right? So again, it depends on what you really want. I'm not discouraging you to make $1 million a year, but I'm asking you to be brutally honest with what you really want, and don't say something that you think you want just because what other people are saying, right? So don't just follow a trend just because it's cool, right? So $1 million is cool. Everyone wants to make $1 million a year, but not everyone needs $1 million a year to really be happy, to live a comfortable lifestyle. So for example, if you want to have a better lifestyle, and that's what most of us want when we started a business. And it's totally fine. Not everyone wants to start a business because they want to change the world, because they want to impact thousands of lives. That could happen at a later stage. But many of us, we started a business because we want to have a better lifestyle. And so if you can comfortably make $300,000 a year, but you only work 3 hours a day, you have time to live the lifestyle you want. Because it takes time to make money, but it also takes time to enjoy the money. And so there's a sweet spot there. And again, it's all relative to what you want, what's the outcome you want, and the objective you want. So let me give you an example. I have this student, and because I didn't ask them for permission to share their story before I did this video, so I'm just gonna keep that anonymous. But what happened is that this is one of my mentoring students, and we were coaching them on how to create a marketing campaign to get more leads and more clients for their sports injury business, right? So basically help people with sports injury to fix certain pains on their body. And we have helped them to restructure their offer to make it online, so that right now they don't have to go down to people's house to do it. They can just do everything online. So it's a pretty lucrative business. And right now what's happening is that they created a funnel, and this funnel right now is getting them a lot of calls booked, and they are getting really good conversion in terms of sales. So what happened is that recently they launched their funnel, and they were able to spend about $600 on ads. We recommend a marketing strategy that involves ads and funnel, and they were able to spend about $600 on ads, and they have jumped on a couple of calls, and they have already closed 3 sales. Each client is paying them about $1,000 a month. Okay, so that's pretty awesome, right? So they spend $600 to acquire 3 customers, which means that the cost to acquire a customer is only $200 flat, but each of the customers is worth $1,000 a month, which means that if they carry on for a year, that will be worth $12,000. So they have already covered back whatever they have spent on ads just in the first month, and then from there every month on is profit. So it's a very profitable business. And now that they have closed 3 sales, and I think by the time I post this video, they should probably be closing more because they already have a few more calls booked that we do not know the result yet until they jump on the call. So that being said, they're excited. They're all excited. And they started to say, Gabriel, we're ready to scale to $1 million a year. And I was like, wait, hold on. Who said anything about making $1 million a year? You see, I know it sounds cool, right? It sounds cool. Everybody's making $1 million a year. A lot of people, that's the next logical step, right? Start a business, the next logical step is bring it to 7 figures. But the question is, did we actually stop and ask ourselves, do I really need that kind of money to live the lifestyle that I really want? Do I really need that kind of money to really be happy? What if I told you that if you make $300,000 a year comfortably, you will have a higher quality of life, but any more money than that may not add any quality of life for you. In fact, your quality of life will drop the more money you make. So there will be that sweet spot there, right? You will make more money, and your quality of life increases, right? So perhaps you're making $40,000 a year. If you go from $40,000 a year to $100,000 a year, your quality of life goes up, right? So everybody's number is different. Maybe from $100,000 a year to $300,000 a year, your quality of life goes up even more. But you reach a stage where anything more than $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 above a certain amount, above an amount relative to you and what you want, your quality of life actually drops. Because in order for you to go to the next level, you actually need to take up more responsibility. You need to be able to have bigger capacity and bigger risk appetite. And all these are factors that can decrease the quality of life. So again, I'm not discouraging people to make $1 million a year, but it's to understand that, to be honest with ourselves, what we really want. So I started asking them, why do you want to make $1 million a year? And it seems like it's just the next thing to do. And so I broke down the numbers for them, and I shared with them that if what you really want is better lifestyle, right? After they told me they have some debts that they want to clear and all that, which is truly understandable. But what if after you clear the debts, right? What's next? And then if what's next is you want a better lifestyle, then there's no need for you to make $1 million a year. So I broke down a number for them, right? So I said that if you just simply make, let's say, 300,000 a year, right? I mean, 300,000 a year, that's about 25,000 a month. That's really a very awesome amount for most people. Wherever you live in the world, that's already you can really live a pretty comfortable lifestyle. So 300,000 a year, that's about 25,000 a month, which means that they need about 25 clients because each client is worth 1,000 a month for them. So here's the other next part of the puzzle that most people don't think of. People just think of money, but money requires a form of investment, which is your time. What most of us are actually doing is trading time for money. Now, there's no such thing as money make money unless you have a lot of money into the stock market or properties that's giving you rental income. These are the only two instruments I know of that is truly passive income. Everything else, people, gurus teaching you how to build a passive income business, I personally think it's all nonsense. Okay, I was once in the make money online space. I used to promote for seminars for companies and speakers that sell programs and courses. Now, I'm not saying they are bad, but I'm just saying that passive income business is bullshit, right? It's nonsense. There's no such thing because you have to still actively manage them. There will still be time needed to invest in the business, and therefore you're still changing time for money. What most people forget is that how much time do I need to invest to make that money? So again, coming back, if I want to make 25,000 a month, that's 300,000 a year. How much do I need to spend per client? And when I broke down with them, on average, they will spend about 45 minutes a week with the client. So that will add up to be about 3 hours a month with each client. So 25 clients multiplied by 3 hours, that will be about 75 hours a month. So that means they have to work 75 hours a month to make 300,000 a year. And that's not too bad because if you take 75 hours and you divide that by 4 weeks, that will add up to be about 18 hours, 18.75 hours a week. And if you divide that by 5, okay, excluding weekends, so it means you still can take the weekends off and you can do what you want. That will be about 3.75 hours. Okay, so maybe what I can do is I will just divide it by 6, so just take 1 day off perhaps instead of 2 days off. So we take 18.75 hours divided by 6 days. So all they gotta work is just 3.1 hours a day. Okay, let's just add another additional 1 hour for one sales call a day. So that's 4 hours a day. So working 4 hours a day, they are able to make 25,000 a month, and that's about 300,000 a year. Now, profitability wise, it's also pretty awesome because they have no cost. The only cost is their time because they have to jump on a call with the clients, they have to meet them on Zoom, but pretty much there's no other cost. So there's no employee, right? There's no staff, there's no fixed expenses, there's no rental, right? I mean, the only thing is like the Zoom account, which only costs like $30 a month. So it is pretty much 90% profit. So 3 hours a day, 300,000 a year. I would say that's pretty comfortable. You have more money than needed to have a comfortable lifestyle. And the amazing thing is that if you only work 3 hours a day, you have a lot of time to do whatever that makes you happy. On contrast, if they want to make $1 million a year, that would mean that they need about 83 clients paying them 1,000 a month, because 83,000 a month multiplied by 12 months, that will give them about $1 million a year. So 83 clients, and if they spend again 3 hours per client a month, that means they have to work 249 hours a month. If you divided that by 4 weeks, that would be about 62 hours a week. And if you divide it by 6 days, that will be about 10 hours a day. And that's having 1 day off, as what we have compared earlier. So working 3 hours a day, making 300,000, versus working 10 hours a day, and of course including a sales call and all that stuff. So that will probably add it up to about 12 hours a day, because if you want to have 83 clients, you need to do more sales call. So 3 hours a day plus 1 sales call, that's 4 hours, right? To make 300,000 a year. or 10 hours plus 1 or 2 hours sales call, that's 12 hours to make a million a year. So yes, you make more money, but if you're working 10 hours, 11 hours a day, you don't really get to enjoy that money. You are basically stuck in your business. You're now a slave to your business, and now you don't own a business, the business owns you. And again, if your objective is you want a better lifestyle, then that result, even though you're making more money, it's not going to give you a better quality of life. Now again, granted that if they have a different outcome that they want, right? They want to serve more people because they believe their product and services can help people, and they want to reach out to more people, and then that's fine, right? Because they are working for a purpose right now, not just for a better lifestyle. I understand that, but how many of us can really touch our heart and say that that's what we really want? Now, maybe some of us want that later on in our life, right? But at the beginning, when we first start our business, most of us just want a better lifestyle for ourselves. And so what will happen is that we will find ourselves in the trap of the business, and even though we are making more money, we are not happy. And that's speaking from my experience, right? And so what they told me was that, oh, you know what? I don't need to work 10 hours a day because I can hire people, right? We can now hire instructors so that we don't have to do the call ourselves. We can hire salespeople. We can do all that stuff. And again, you see, most people underestimate the challenge of building a team, because if you want to do everything yourself, it's 10 hours. But if you were to hire people, here are a few things that will happen. First of all, your margin will drop. So even though you're making $1 million a year, right? I mean, first of all, it was $300,000 a year. That was 100% profit, working 4 hours a day, 3 to 4 hours a day, and it's money in your pocket. But if you were to scale to $1 million a year and you would hire people, now you have full-time staff to pay. Now you have fixed expenses, and now you have all that will decrease the margin. So it may look like $1 million a year now, but your profit is no longer $1 million a year. Maybe the profit now is 500,000 or 600,000. So there is a lot of diminishing return of your time, because it used to be 4 hours making $300,000 profit. Now it becomes 10 hours a day making $600,000 profit because your margin has dropped. So your earnings per hour has dropped. So there will be a point where your earnings per hour is the highest, but there will be a point where there's a diminishing return. No matter how much more hours you add, the more hours you add, the lesser return you get per hour. And because people underestimate the challenge that is needed to build a team. So yes, it might sound like, great, I can just hire people, I can automate the business, but you didn't factor in the fact that you have to, first of all, recruit people. That means you have to interview. You have to take out time to interview people. You have to take out time to train people. And then you have to deal with all the different dynamics and human factors that will take up a lot of your headspace and a lot of time. For example, what if people come here, they are trained by you, and they leave you? And then you have to recruit. You have to spend all the time again to recruit, to train, and then repeat the same thing. And what if people come and they steal your customer? There's a lot of what if, right? So my question is not saying that you shouldn't scale a business because of all this what if, but all this will also spend time. So it might look like, okay, I can just hire people to take over, and I don't have to spend 10 hours a day. No, you probably will spend the hours that you have saved to handle all the other issues that will come up when you're scaling a team. Does that make sense? So at the end of the day, you're still going to work about 10 hours a day. I know that because I run a business, and like many people, I didn't know what I wanted at the beginning. I wasn't honest with myself. And I actually just wanted a better lifestyle, but I got into the whole chase, right, of making $1 million a year. And because of that, I have to hire people, I have to set up a team, and I have to handle the clients, I have to handle the back end, I have to handle accounting, I have to handle the dynamics, people leaving and people are not happy, and having to coach people, having to jump on a call with my team, having to jump on a call with new recruits and interview, and solving issues with people going MIA. And all this time that I have saved, I would spend time solving issues because I'm scaling a team. Now, I'm not complaining that, but there was a point in my life where business was making over $1 million a year, but I wasn't very happy because I was making more money, but I was working like 10 to 12 hours every single day, and I didn't have enough time to spend for myself. So I initially started because I wanted a better lifestyle, but now I'm making more money, but I have to spend 12 hours a day in the business, and I wasn't able to have time to enjoy the money. And so that was when I decided to make some changes in my business and started to buy time back, where I'm literally spending money to hire people so that I can earn lesser so that I can get back more time. So if I can do it all over again, I wouldn't have done that in the first place. I would have just built maybe a smaller business like my student and spend 2 to 3 hours a day on that business that makes $300,000 a year, rather than me having to spend 10 to 12 hours a day to make $1 million a year. So now again, granted that this is what you want, right? So if you want to build $1 billion company, you want to build $100 million company, then obviously, then whatever we just mentioned doesn't even matter in the first place. So it's still important what's the intention of what you want, what's the outcome that you want. To sum it up, there is 3 things that you need to consider when you're starting a business, and it's not just the financial part. Because when people start a business, all they care about is the financial part, which is the reason why they are trapped in this whole thought that I need to make $1 million a year, and then after $1 million a year, they want to go $2 million a year and $3 million a year. It's just constantly chasing money. And the financial part isn't the only factor you need to think about. So if you want a better lifestyle, there are 3 things you need to think about. The first one is the financial part. So financial freedom is one thing, but there's also time freedom and location freedom. So you gotta find that sweet spot, right? Where is the sweet spot where you make the most amount of money with the shortest amount of time, so that you are making more money per hour rather than more money but you're spending more hours. You are actually finding the sweet spot where you're exchanging the least amount of time for the most amount of money, and anything further than that is literally going back. There's a lot of diminishing return where you are getting lesser return per hour that you're spending in your business. So find a sweet spot. And the last one is location freedom. So location freedom is that, yes, you may be only making $25,000 a month, and that's $300,000 a year. Now, first of all, you only work 3 hours or 4 hours a day, which means that you have the rest of the time to do whatever you want. And having location freedom and time freedom will help you to stretch your money even further. So what do I mean? Because of the fact that you only spend 3 hours a day, you can spend the rest of the day to do other stuff. One of the things that my wife and I did previously before COVID went crazy was that we were traveling very often, and we were going to countries that have very low living expenses. So for example, we used to like to go to places like Bali because it's very near Singapore, and we like to go to places like Thailand. And whichever country you live in, there will always be a location that your cost of living expenses is going to be lower, especially if you're not in an urban city area, okay? So being in Singapore, we are urban city. That's the reason why cost of living here is very expensive. So I remember that pre-COVID, my wife and I were traveling once every 2 months, very frequently to places like Bali, to Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia. And guess what? The funny thing is that we were traveling so often, but we were actually saving money when we were traveling, because the living expenses there are 3 times cheaper, sometimes even 4 times cheaper than what we are spending in Singapore. So yes, I may be making $25,000 a month, but because I have the time freedom and location freedom, right? So that's the other thing about location. Your business, you need to make sure that your business gives you the freedom of location, right? So in this example of my student, they are just simply jumping on a call with their clients. They don't have to meet their client face to face. They are just jumping on a Zoom with them. They also have location freedom. So why make $1 million a year and spend 10 hours a day when you can spend 3 to 4 hours a day, make $25,000 a month, and you can get to travel to places like Bali or Thailand where you will stretch your money 3 times more, which means that you might be making $25,000, but it will feel like you're spending $50,000 or $75,000 because you're able to stretch your money further, and therefore you're able to save more, you're able to get a better quality of life, you're able to get better quality food, better quality living with lesser amount spent. My wife and I were doing that very frequently. We were going to places that had way lower cost of living, and we were actually spending money traveling. The only thing that we didn't do was we didn't stay in the location long enough, because every time we fly to a certain country, we have to come up with money to fly. And so if we were to spend a month, let's say in Bali, or 2 months in Bali, rather than just a few weeks here and a few weeks here, we would have saved even more, because we have saved up on the air fee, and we would have saved up on the travel fee and other expenses that comes with moving around. So I hope this video has been of value to you. It's just a quick rant because I've been seeing so many entrepreneurs nowadays, they are trapped in this whole money game where they are just constantly chasing money, and they forget that there's time involved and location involved, and you don't necessarily need to make more money to have a better quality of life. So let me know in the comment section if you agree with me, or if you disagree. Let me know in the comment, and what's your biggest takeaway or most valuable to you. Remember to also like and subscribe to this channel, as this will help this channel out a lot. So thank you for watching. That's all I have for you today. Bye for now.